thank you so much for this invitation, and what a brilliant panel to be on the stage, if you will, with. Really inspired. So I just want to thank everyone. It's a tough act to follow, but we'll see what happens. So I have a little something to share, a presentation that I hope will help this conversation. Let me see, I'll put it in the right mode. Oops. Excuse me. Try that again. Sorry. There we go. All right, hopefully this works. Let me know if you guys can see this.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, for some reason it wasn't queuing up. So thanks for the invitation. The talk today is the 4 pillars of co-creative impact. And I'm really honored to be here. And I'm really excited about what the Silicon Valley Forum does. And I want to thank Amanda and Denise for being so terrific. I was having some problems with technical problems in the background, and Amanda's an amazing goddess of kindness and help. So let's get on to it. So I really am going to talk to you today. This is an invitation to a conversation with yourself and with others. But the 4 pillars of co-creative impact are something I've been thinking about for a while in terms of motivation and how we do what we do. What we're trying to do is make an impact in the world. And how do we travel? How do we use and harness our gifts in this journey? So I'm going to mix some conversational elements, a little bit of poetry, and inspiring folks along this journey of what we'll discuss. And Maya Angelou is one of my heroes and such an inspiration. She says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. And I can certainly say that the speakers who I am following embody this kind of power and strength, and it's pretty incredible. So my view is that we are all creators, and how we spend each moment is how we spend our lives. And that's a real responsibility and a privilege. And so that's why this is an invitation. How are we spending our time? COVID changed so much of who we are and what we are about as a nation and as individuals. I don't think, and as parents and as partners. So many people are at this crossroads in their lives right now, like never before, of who they want to be in the world and what they want to contribute. So that's this conversation we want to talk about. So just quickly about me, I'd love to hear from you. I have on the screen my email, even my phone number. Text is really a good way to reach me, and I welcome that. Just identify yourself. And then I have my personal website here, which will access all of the things that are on here. So personally, I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm a trained economist. I have my doctorate in economics and agricultural economics, and started many, many years ago working in food security and issues like that for the World Bank and USAID. And I went to American Express and got some corporate experience. And from that and with that, have really ventured out in the last 10 years, really understanding that I am an entrepreneur. I didn't realize that until later in life. So these are some of the things that I'm working on. Right now, my startup is True Purpose Brands, which is a new standard of safe and clean. There's a Disruptive Quarterly as a magazine I founded this year. And I'd love to hear from you. Please email me. We'd love to profile your companies. We'd love to, give you guys a platform. It's a platform for folks who are making a difference in the world. And all of these things can be found on my LinkedIn. I'd love to link in with you. So that I wanted to get that out of the way so you get a sense of a context of who I am and what I'm doing. So as mentioned, I'm a writer and producer. And I'm happy to say that it's never too late to live your dream, and also to help others live their dreams. So that's what we want to talk about today, that invitation. So I founded 22nd Century by Design, and this concept of these 4 pillars of co-creative impact, keeping in mind that a child born today will be walking into the 22nd century. And how are we designing their future? So that's a really big question to me. And it haunts me and inspires me thinking about it. And just keep in your heart while we're thinking about what we're doing, there's children under 5 today. with based on all the metrics we can come up with, we'll be walking into the 22nd century. So let's think about how we're designing for impact and their future. So the four pillars of co-creative impact are sustainability, consonance, innovation, and celebration. And I'm going to break down each one of those in this talk today. Again, this is a invitation to discover and lay the foundations as individuals and leaders. When people are talking about build back better, we're still in the midst of huge change and have been challenged like we've never been challenged before. Our values, our resilience, who we are and where we stand and where we can make our stand. In my life, I'm 58 years old. I don't remember a time when we've been so challenged on so many fronts. And we need to support each other and really learn how to take care of ourselves and support ourselves to be that person that stands up in our organization and as leaders to take us into building back better in every way. So the four pillars of co-creative impact, co-creative is a critical element, and no one achieves success without the help of others. And we all know that. But there's an attitude of gratitude that is really important within this, and really recognizing that we're not on this journey alone. And I see co-creative as a critical element. Jane Hirschfield is a brilliant poet, and she tells us, we feel like separate water droplets, but we are also ocean. So I echo Daniela, and the importance of the ocean, to be sure. And we'll definitely talk a little bit more about the ocean in this talk. So with co-creative elements, I want to just call out, I'll have these little inspiration slides. So game-changing alliances. I'm privileged to serve on the Circular Economy Committee for Working Group for the American Sustainable Business Council. I encourage you to check them out. They have a conference in December. But what they've done, and they have 250,000 member touch points. And they lobby for us, small business and all business, for social justice and sustainability. And it's a really incredible organization, but they are all about being co-creative and not standing alone. And they give a platform for all of us to stand together. And they also, at Harvard, there is the Planetary Health Alliance. There's been this recent, in partnership with Lancet Medical Journal, a declaration for planetary health. This is over 300 organizations in 48 countries coming together to basically make sure that we're considering nature as we also consider our own health. They're intimately tied together. Really great organizations, and so much that doesn't cost you a thing to learn and join them in their cause. The first pillar of co-creative impact is sustainability. And we hear a lot about sustainability, we have for some time. And it's not just about the environment, saving the environment, which is critical, and addressing climate change. But to thrive, sustainability in the four pillars of co-creative impact is about our core of well-being, of our well-being of our communities, health of the planet, and our companies. And are you sustainable? And during COVID and everything that we've been through, how sustainable are you building your world within yourself and your family and in your communities? Sustainability is being able to go the distance and also to have a regenerative aspect in my sense of the definition. And sustainability is really about these elements beyond just planetary impacts. And I think a great rubric and a great centering is definitely, of course, the United Nations and their important work, but what they've come up with these sustainable development goals. And I'm sure many of you have had contact with these goals. They're addressing poverty and health, education, gender equality, the processes through partnerships for the goals, through peace, justice, and strong institutions. Process is considered, systems are considered. Oceans are definitely considered, and it's a robust roundedness around what sustainable development can be. It's not just building roads and buildings, it's building ourselves and our communities. So I encourage you to learn more. If you don't know more, go to the targets. Your organization can be aligned with some targets, take them on. I have a mobile app that is designed as a passport. and anyone's welcome on. You've got my email. It's meant to be a platform for folks to connect with your organization and also with the Sustainable Development Goals. It's designed as a passport, so you can go there. It's called Global Shift 2030. It's in the app stores, iOS and Android. And basically the stamps in the passport are the Sustainable Development Goals, these tiles, and how your organization lines up. We'd love to feature you, but it gives a chance to see how we are all connected to these goals, and we have something that we can contribute. And I absolutely loved, I think it was Daniela talking about the youth. And I just want to give a shout out to Erin, Roya, and Danielle. And Daniela just really inspired me. But I think the youth really has something to add here. I think Daniela at also with the co-creative elements, she called out partnerships, just to go back there, that Elemental could use your help. But these Generation Z, Gen Z trailblazers, like Greta Thunberg and Amanda Gorman, I don't know who I was at their age. I can't imagine. But to stand in front of the world and make a stand the way they do and the way they inspire us to be better is just extraordinary. And then also to give a shout out to the oceans, as I mentioned, Daniela, really powerful, passionate voice. And Sylvia Earle, another generation who is really our godmother of taking care of the oceans. The most valuable thing we can extract from the ocean is our existence. Those fundamental calls to action, to pay attention, and the wisdom that someone like Sylvia Earle brings, cannot be discounted in any way. Please take a look at her Mission Blue. So these are people who inspire me, and I just want to share that with each topic. The next pillar is consonance. This is a word that usually is literary terminology, but it's really about assuring our intentions and preparation are aligned with our goals. And I'm very fond of the poet David White. There's The Heart Aroused is a book he has, The Heart Aroused. It's all about, when I was at American Express, I was a senior executive at American Express, lived in Singapore. It was a weird, lonely world living away. And I was the only American woman actually in the company in Singapore, in Asia for the most part. So it was a very different orienting experience for me. And that book really got me through. It's about poetry in the corporation and living in that life. And do not get me wrong, I loved being at American Express. I learned a lot that I bring to the table today from incredible leaders I got to work with and weird projects I loved. But our work is to make ourselves visible in the world. And sometimes for women, it's hard for us to see that. This is the sacred soul individual journey. The soul would much rather fail at its own life than succeed at someone else's. And I think this is really profound because we do have a uniqueness to bring to the world, and Consonance is about discovering that, aligning it, and acting upon it. A book where I got this term I thought was really great is called Limitless. How to Ignore Everybody, Carve Out Your Own Path, and Live Your Best Life by Laura Grassner-Otting. I get no kickbacks from these things. I just want to share some resources that I think you'll find of interest. But for Consonance, there's 4 elements that she recognizes. I'm trying to get rid of this. It's calling, connection, contribution, and control. And in her book, she outlines these very beautifully, has some wonderful exercises for you to do and think about. But in this journey, it's a very lonely, difficult journey along the way to find that sense of true alignment. And I can give you and when you are aligned, you are very, very protective of your time, of your resources, of your attention. And it comes with age too, or not, but I think it's really important to note my personal experiences. Since I was a little girl, I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to write a novel. And back in December 2019, before COVID, I had committed to really working on a screenplay that I had in mind, and I really followed through with it. And then I enrolled in an MFA program because I was so inspired to really get to it. And I'm happy to say, actually, my computer's resting on my first novel, everyone. I actually am in the copy edit stage of a novel. It's 373 pages called A Sensitive Instrument. And the reason I bring that up is that I am so protective of my time and attention. now that I'm doing what I dreamed of doing since I was a little girl. And I can't emphasize how that feels. And you may even feel the energy I'm giving you over Zoom about really what that means to me to be aligned for the first time. And this is only a year since really committing to that little girl in me to write that novel. And it's kind of extraordinary. And poets have so much to give us. Joy Harjo, one thing that you guys may not know is that Joy Harjo, a Native American poet, and she has a new memoir out. She's just brilliant. And she's our poet laureate of the United States and has been in a second round of this. So she's been there for a while, for the last 4 years, by the way, and 5 years. And so she's on her second part of this. But I think it's really important to embrace the words of wisdom. And if you do not answer the noise and urgency of your gifts, they will turn on you or drag you down with their immense sadness at being abandoned. And we have, I think, a lot of folks with COVID, with this period of time, there's been a lot of folks having the chance to have more introspection and really learning about what are their gifts and what they want to bring to the world. And you see that because the New York Times just the other day, a huge article about how many people are leaving the work that they've been doing pre-COVID. And I think that's about people discovering what they really want to do and prioritizing their time. So some people who inspire me are Melinda Gates, who just created an imprint for publishing the stories of incredible people like I Hope Roya and Daniela and so on, and Gail too. And a woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman, but that search to find that voice can be remarkably difficult. And that is what Consonance is about, is asking and inquiring. I also wanted to give a shout out. In my lifetime, honestly, I don't remember American leaders. I'm not going to get political at all, but women are holding the line on our values as a democracy and what we're here to do together. And I just wanted to recognize it doesn't matter what party people are in. There is advancement, and there are women who are so strong. And I think of Consonance, they are holding the line for all of us. And there's more out there. Please don't take offense if I haven't listed everyone, but across party lines, people are holding the line for the things that America was founded on. And I think that's even more meaningful today. So I just want to give a shout out to some women that really inspire me. The third pillar of a co-creative impact is harnessing a new mind and models of partnership to build solutions that inspire, disrupt, and enchant. So our first pillar is sustainability. Our second pillar is consonance. Our third pillar is innovation. And like never before, Daniel Pink calls us out. Used to be, when I lived in Singapore, that was a nation state that everyone was trained to be absolutely of service to the old economy. And now there's that transition to the new economy where it's a conceptual age, where our left and right brain are interplay. I'll cover what Daniel Pink is talking about. This is another book I really strongly recommend. It's called A Whole New Mind. And there's six elements that he's seeing as the necessary marriage between the right and left brain. Innovation requires a whole new mind. And it's not just about creating the next best product to disrupt an industry. It's about disrupting yourself. It's about really embracing new ways of thinking. And design, story, symphony. Symphony is about having all these incredible things that are out in the world and how you bring them together. As opposed to ignoring them, you look to them for wisdom. I think biomimicry is a really incredible example of what symphony can be. Empathy, putting ourselves in other people's shoes. Investors, where we see investment going, sadly, up until now, a lot more investment groups. I work with a few of them that are really innovative. And investors, just if they can't quite identify with the mission or the need, there's a reason why they're not investing. They don't understand it. They don't put themselves in the shoes of what problem we're really trying to solve. That can be an issue for that. And I think with impact investors, I think we're getting somewhere. And when there's enough track record now, there's a GIIN report that the returns on impact investing are much more clear. And so play and meaning, I don't play enough. I'm not sure about you guys. And then meaning, like not just, checking the list off, stopping and really developing meaning along the way. But you can see where this whole new mind creates a whole new world, and the world demands it. So I'm very blessed to work with a lot of innovators. I won't go into detail on all of them, but they range in creating a quantum internet that's based on high frequency radio waves that's coming out very soon. And also harnessing green chemistry. And for the oceans and plastic, full cycle bioplastics takes organic waste and transforms it to PHA plastic. These alternative polymers are critical. And I just wanted to call these things out. And I just joined a group, Renew Venture Capital, which is an impact investment group to advance companies like this and the stories. The fourth pillar is celebration. I don't know about you, but I always forget to get it, really celebrate. So leadership is about empathy, and it's about inspiring people and empowering people in their lives. And someone once said to me, and I repeat it here, as leaders, people are trusting us with their future. And the practice of celebration builds that trust of acknowledging accomplishment, making gratitude meaningful and gratefulness meaningful. And I was thrilled when Melinda Shiva actually talked about celebration. And I think we owe each other, what we owe each other is a celebration of life, and to replace fear and hopelessness with fearlessness and joy. Well said. And I also want to give a shout out, a dear partner and friend, Deb Luster. And if everyone could raise their hand, who knows Annie's Homegrown macaroni and cheese and loves it. Deb was the founding president of Annie's Homegrown 30 years ago. And now she's working with a group that you'll see out there. It's called Goodles. And she's launching and reinventing the whole category of macaroni and cheese 30 years later. And she is somebody who celebrates life, celebrates, people just beautifully. So she's my partner at True Purpose Brands and Disruptive Sisters. And she also wrote a book like I Can Do Anything. So if you're looking for Christmas gifts, go to Amazon and look at her for her book. But it's all can-do kid. So really encouraging and celebrating the uniqueness of youth. And she's just somebody, when I think I'm inspired by her every day with how she celebrates for everyone. So how do we take these four pillars into action? The sustainability part, really a robust sustainability. How are you practicing that mindset of taking care of yourself? Consonance, taking stock and being kind to ourselves as we inquire. The past is there to serve the present and future. Being stuck in the past and regret will drag you down, trust me. And what an opportunity we live in right now to reinvent ourselves, or to really inquire who we are and what we want to be and contribute. Innovation, I think empathy and symphony are superpowers. I actually created an animated character called Verdi, and his superpower is empathy. And he's going to help champion the planet. And then also never forget about celebration, because something I've done my whole life is forget about it. Because why are we working so hard if not to celebrate the human spirit, if not to champion each other in the human spirit? So let's remember that. And then our past, our present, and whatever remains of our future absolutely depends on how and what we do now. Again, from the ocean wise woman, Sylvia Earle. So I thank you and invite you to this kind of inquiry and conversation. And I appreciate your time, and I so appreciate this forum, and so encourage you all to support the previous speakers with the asks that they have. We're blessed to have these forums to talk as women and people. And in Afghanistan, I want us to all to really remember our sisters there that are struggling. Thank you very much for your time.